So today is April the 7th, 2025, and it is the early morning of Monday, but it's still, for me, Sunday night. And I am making this live to, what do I want to talk about? Well, I'm glad to be back on it because earlier I could not get on it. I just looked at a movie that was very, very disturbing, but in one way I'm flattered because, hold on, let me start this over. In one way, so let me give my heading over again because I just recorded this. So it is April the 7th, early Monday morning of 2025, and I'm in my room. I just watched a movie called Pastor, which is stupid, on Tubi. And um, it was very disturbing, but flattering at the same point. I'm not on that right now as much as I am on February the 17th of 2025. And I'm going back in my phone. I went back in my camera and I thought for sure I made a video of it, but I don't see it in my phone. The guy in the white car went to Walmart on February the 17th and bought hamburger patties, rice-a-roni, and I think something else, and came back here and wanted me to cook the food. And he purposely left the kitchen so I would be in there by myself with the food in the bags, and then, or with the food, and then he came back out and brought a receipt and slammed the receipt on the counter as if he wanted me to, as if he was gloating or bragging about what he did. And I left the receipt there for quite a few days, and nobody in the house moved it. So it sat there for a few days. And finally, I took a picture of it because I needed the evidence. And so eventually he gave me his phone number, and his phone number ends in the bank account of Fifth Third, and he had a card that was reported to law enforcement on October 12th, 2023. So on 2000, in October of 2023, when I left Joe's house at 8033 Wood Lake Drive, that was also 8032, and was also the Latino next door, and was also the Latino that came in the room after me, that is still there. Um, uh, the they stole my wallet on MARTA bus while I was talking to Clayton County on bus 93. And it was because of what I had. They was gonna do it anyway eventually because they had to get the wallet because they was acting like I had just got out of prison. So they needed to get. They was gonna do it anyway whether I had talked or not. They just made me feel that they did it because I was talking, but they had to get it anyway because they was making it look like I had just got out of prison, which is why Gwanda wanted me to come to her house on November the 16th, on November 15th, and she didn't want, insisted, don't bring nothing. So when I got on the bus on October the 15th, it was, you got it, it was released people staged from the Georgia Department of Corrections. And they wanted it to look like I actually got out and went to North Carolina to stay. So back to this, my wallet was stolen on October the 12th, and that was probably the hardest day that I've had in a long time. The barber had just gave me some money um, to clean his room, and they did that as a swap. And then it was it was my social security card in there, my ID, my Georgia driver's license that I got in May of 2020. And I only got those because I changed my name to Ketchup in January. And so I needed to get the ID updated. And we moved down here in March, but COVID was going on and all that. So I eventually got it back done in May. So I had my license in there, my Fifth Third Bank card, the only card in that wallet, ending in 0633. And it was my blue memory card. It was another, I think, memory card in there, maybe. And it was my money, it was my card, and it was a host of receipts. And I made the mistake of going to get all of those certified mailing proofs out of the storage. So it was about 30, 28 to 30 of those in there. And then it was I think it was a Breeze card, and then it was it was my mailbox key. So the mailbox that I have right now actually has a key. It was a fee for me to change the locks, and I couldn't afford it at times. So me and this duplicated person of me is they still have a key to my mailbox right now. So um, I still had my SD cards, so I was happy, and I still had a form of identification. So I went to my storage and got my California ID just to have ID on me because at that time I was really like scared to just be out with no ID. With just I was That was really spooking me. So I went and got my California ID, and in November, at the hotel, the white man and a gang of it, they drugged me at KFC, and they used ketchup to get me all angry and upset, and they put something in my food, and I was very groggy. And I remember going upstairs, I was very sleepy. Plus, I didn't get that much sleep the night before at Comfort Inn at the hotel. So I was very tired and very groggy. And so I came upstairs and sat down on the floor, and they sent a Latino, very young boy and a young girl up there holding hands going to a hotel room. And I was very upset. And I got up, and my wallet, my little black pouch, was still on the floor, and the master in 206 grabbed it. And so when I went downstairs and didn't have it, I was devastated. I was devastated. And but I'm glad because Ketchup had said in the car that day, which was very weird, very weird. It's like he was giving an order out. That's what it was. Like he was telling whoever was listening to give out. He was giving out an order because he said, um, I had my wallet, and that time I had money in it that I had got from um, where did I get money from? This was November. I think Anthony had gave me money, um, and I had it in the wallet, and I had about $160 in there, something like that, in cash. And then I had a little bit of money on my bank card with 0633, and I had like all of those SD cards in there. And then I had that ID plus the new ID that I had just got. And then I had a bunch of receipts. And then I had change. And then I had like some other miscellaneous important things in there. And they took that. And I remember just when I didn't have those SD cards, I felt relief in a bit because it sounded like Ketchup had gave out an order. Because he said when I got out of the car, it was weird. I thought that maybe he had stolen it because I was just so groggy after I ate that food from KFC, and he didn't give me a choice of where to go. He took me where he wanted me to go, I think. And we went there, and I got the food, and he didn't get nothing. And I ate, and then he started hollering in the car to get me upset. And I remember I started crying a little bit, and I went upstairs, and it was a big thing. It was a lot of commotion at the desk of that Dorville Hotel. And I remember just saying when I got there, I just had the worst feeling in the world, like run, run. And I just said, I don't want to be here. And I kept feeling that day, get away from Ketchup, get away from him. And I just kept saying, I just think I'll go ahead and go by myself. I can, just drop me off at the store and I'll be by myself. No, I'll take you. And I just kept wondering, because I think that he knew that I was going to get groggy and didn't want me to get groggy outside or get by myself, and I start praying. So he wanted to stay with me until I got groggy. And I did. But the whole time that day I kept saying, get out from with Ketchup and be by yourself. Be by yourself. And when I got out of the car to go in the hotel, he said, somebody gonna bust you in your head and take that wallet. And I said, why would somebody say something like that? And sure enough, went upstairs, and I think that was God's way of protecting me so that that didn't happen. But do the law have that? Yes, they have it. They wanted to see what was on those SD cards, so I'm mad about it, but I'm not mad about it because I know the law have them. Because after they got them, that's when I could tell because they had reviewed them, and then the plot started changing around what was on those SD cards, like books stuff. And I started getting other little type of messages and ads. So I knew they had the SD cards. Plus, I know that the law wasn't gonna let nobody else get those. They wanted to see, even though for the most part they pretty much knew because they were watching me record the whole time. But at the same time, it's been recordings on those SD cards go all the way back to 2018, 19, 18 at in Kentucky. So they got everything on those recordings. And even when they changed them, they were still important because you could go in and see when they were edited. And then they were putting codes at the end of the edits. So it was just a bunch of evidence that they were not gonna let nobody just get. Like that was the lottery ticket. We need to see how what did this girl know, and everybody wanted to see, is she crazy or not, and what is happening. But they knew that I wasn't, because what I said about the plot was too smart. So anybody was that listened to me quickly said that's not the case. She It's just too smart what she's saying, and this is, and she knows. It's like I was given the elementary version of what they did. So they might use big words, describing IT stuff, and I would just use. To me, it seemed I imagined myself as being a little girl in a room when you go in the room and you're describing to counselors or caseworkers um, how someone molested you or whatever, and you're using dolls. And to me, I was that, and the FBI was looking at me in the same little room and saying, and this is what they did with this phone and this phone, and this is what I seen when I went to the bank, and they did this, and then they had one computer and it was hooked to this one. And so I just felt that they were saying she is definitely not lying. And then they knew, because I've been surrounded by so many federal agencies since 2018 that is unbelievable. I cannot think of one agency that I haven't seen in since 2019. So they knew that she's not lying. They that's that is no longer a question. So everybody knows that. It doesn't matter if it's Clayton County, Fulton County, San Bernardino County, um, Richmond County, doesn't matter. Uh, Richland County, doesn't matter. They all know she's not lying, because I was under surveillance in so many different areas. I just didn't know what was going on, but they did. And so, well, they didn't at first, because it was not on the books. And I keep saying that because they did it not on the books, so that when it did come out and get on the books, then they would have a leg up. She definitely looked like she's crazy. So when I went to California, when I knew that I had that audience that was listening to me, that wanted me to tell them everything that I knew, I said I was not on the books. They did not put this on the books. I'm telling you, it wasn't an open investigation. It was a hush hush thing going on. That is what they did. Only a select few knew about it. And when I came out, when they seen I was waking up to it, then they put their own version of events and called it that. But it was not an official thing. It was official when the FBI got involved, when they came out in 2018. And I don't know if they came out to everybody, but I knew they were there in 2018 and 19. And then they told me they were really out in 2021 in Walmart parking lot, because I was getting too. That's when I was like police famous. Like that's when I couldn't go nowhere. No, like I could go out a little bit right now and may not get a message. Nah. But in California, it was I was like who's good but bad? Like O.J. Simpson famous bad, or like but Beyonce attention, but O.J. Simpson bad. I was like that. Like I couldn't go like nowhere. Like the bathrooms, they literally closed off bathrooms in California because people knew where I was and they went in there and marked everything. And so I couldn't like it was I was famous but not. And so it was the complaint that I sent in. And when I sent in that complaint, they read it at the Supreme Court in California. They read it and somebody messaged me back and said, "You are USC famous." And so everybody got it. And so everybody knew anyway on my way because the people that had me under surveillance here called California to get the case transferred, or me watched all the way to California and then in California. So I was never by myself. The FBI went with me all the way to California. And when I got to California, they were still there. And they checked in. Well, I saw them. They checked in on the road though to let me know they were still there. And then when I got to California, their agents were there, and then they started watching it, and then I had private people watching it, and then I had other people watching it, and then I didn't I just had to pay attention to who didn't cross with who so that I would know who I might trust, or what what it if it was somebody helping me or not. So, but I stayed alive in California, so I knew that somebody was helping me because it was really, really bad in California when I first got there. And, but when they figured out that I was telling the truth, I had, it was a different ball game. And I should have stayed and I should have been quiet because they were, when the man asked me when I went to the hospital and they was leaving the bank cards, I should have just stayed quiet because I actually got that real message. How much do you want? And I should have just stayed quiet and followed it because that was probably the most direct message that I've gotten in the entire time. And it was written on a bank card. How much? And um, so back to this, what I wanted to say was, and I don't ever look at the camera because I don't want it to look like I'm on chats. Um, the receipt that the guy, that the wallet got stolen, that card was never reported to Fifth Third Bank. And I didn't want to report it to Fifth Third Bank as stolen because I wanted to catch it out. If I reported it stolen, all Fifth Third Bank was going to do was send it out again, send out another one, whether I asked for it or not. So I wanted it to stay reported stolen, and that's why Fifth Third Bank never let me get my bank statement to that card, because I'm quite sure it has transactions after that fact. So I never got the statement, and by that time Fifth Third Bank didn't want me with their statements, because they figured that she has figured out how to read these statements with more than just subtract, add, and then I was able to pinpoint these cards and the dates and times, and they used to watch me read those statements. When I go to the bank, I'm telling you, everybody watches me. When I go to any bank, they watch. What is she gonna go in there and find out? Especially if their bank is bad. So when I went, when I went, um, when I when I got my wallet stolen, that card was 0633, and he went to the store on February the 17th, and he spent $48.79 in Walmart. And he came in the kitchen like he wanted to aggravate me. And the only people that do that are people that got upper level upper level power. So um, he came in and he slammed it on the counter like he was like, look at this. They said you like receipts, look at it. And but he was, I think he was doing that so that they could maybe say she got mad and then maybe poisoned your food or something like that. Because I was trying to think, why would somebody want to aggravate you and then want to eat your food? So I don't think so. I think he really wanted me to stay angry with him and then wanted me to cook for him, because that's what they say I do. That was the main plot in in California. Will say that she's poisoning everybody's food. So I was like, I already know that, and I don't care about that. So, because I was thinking, well, if why would you be wanting me to cook for you, and you came in here and slammed the receipt down? Plus, when he gave me the last three to his phone number, that's still Fifth Third Bank. So you got the account and the card. But then when I think about it, everybody that has been in that room is bank. He's the bank room. Everybody in this house is a different room. He's the bank. The next one, room C, is the weed room with the couple that fight all the time, and the contractor work, the self-employment type. Room A is like your gay, lesbian, employment type thing going on. And then room E is your prostitute, the younger boy slash, nursing, rental car. No, rental car room was A. I forgot about A. Room F is the IRS room, and then room G is the medical hospital. So they put every room in here on location. And even if you look at the people that stayed in there before, all of them still follow the same scripts from the other person. They just move around to make me look confused. I'm not confused, you know. So the point of the matter is he went in there and slammed the receipt down. So I looked at it, and it was 7633. went back in my phone tonight to look for it. They done erased it. So he's covering for himself now because he they know that I know, and Joe done told him. And plus he heard me talking to the police the other day. So now he is still being me, but he's being very quiet. He's not saying nothing. He's, you know, still being very, very vindictive and very nonchalant, but he's still working, but he is being very quiet because he knows she will call the police and she police happy and she know everything. They know she know everything. So, and she will tell the FBI. They know that too. So he's just still doing whatever they told him to do, and then you know waiting until his his tenure is up, I guess. So I went on the phone today, and I'm upset about that because wait, let me see 1 second if I moved it, and I don't think I did. Let me see because it was proof. Let me see. I will get very happy if I did because I need those. I need that evidence. I hope it's here. Nope, and they done took out a lot of pictures from even Joe's thing. They just delete stuff. It is nowhere near all the pictures that was in here. It was like 170. Let me see how many pictures that's in here. It was like 100 and some pictures, like 100 and I think 69 pictures, and just added like a bunch of Roku pictures the other day, and it's not even here in the receipt. And I wondered if I had put the receipt on a video because I want to say that I had put it on YouTube, but I thought that I wouldn't have put it on YouTube because I didn't really want the retaliation from him. So I just took the picture and held it because I knew that they would tell him she got the picture, like she know. And so I took the picture and I put it in the jacket of that black pocket, but then I took it out and threw it away. Did I glue it down to anything? Let me see. Did I write down all the stuff to it? No. It was February the 17th. That's the day that he went. I didn't glue it down. I didn't keep it. And I thought for sure I took a picture of it. But either way, I don't have the picture. It's been took out of my phone. And I'll try to still try to find it. But I don't have to worry about that. The FBI have it. They definitely got it. They got every transaction to everybody in this house every time they move. You best believe that. Um, so I don't have to worry about that. They, that's what they do. I could, that's what they do. So, um, they definitely got that. Every transaction of everybody in this house every time they move. They in an electronic bubble. So he he did it on February the 17th, 2023. I mean 2025. And I was looking to see what register he had went on to see if it was the same register that I had went on. And then I was looking to see if it was the same operator ID and so they took it off, and so I'm upset about that because that was good evidence. Because that was the evidence that I needed to put in the complaint to go with Joe to show the correlation, because everybody in this house is connected to a bank and a card and a phone number. Everybody in here. I don't even have to know the phone number. I just know that you are. And if it's a number I don't recognize, then that's the account number. That's all. So it makes it very easy then for me to connect the money laundering web, because then I know if you're 7633 and Ketchup is Cash App, then I know if you're the only link and this is the only card you have, then that means that the account number would have to be your account number or card, and they have the card, or vice versa. And then that's the way it connects. So it makes it very easy. I can just, you know, call up Cash App and say, hey, do you got an account number ended in 7633? And then that would be it, because he has the card. So you must be connected to and let's see, that's weird. That's a good idea, you know. But, and then I looked on my phone earlier today, and Elaine from Hager Avenue, it said that her number ends in 3036. So that is Woodforest Bank. So I really don't want to talk about all of this tonight, because I'm really honestly trying to get out of building this so much, because I've already did it. I've already won. They make movies about me. And it's not about me, but they make movies. I guess that's a roast, a federal roast. Like, you want us to make a movie, this is the movie that we made about you. That's not about me. And so let me go ahead and discuss the movie that they made tonight. When I seen the title, anything on Tubi is more than likely law, especially if it's on that first in. When I seen the title, I said, okay, this is good and bootleg, but I'll at least watch a Christian movie. All right, so then I go from there to, let me, uh, I see the title. Now, I just wrote earlier in my notebook and posted it that they got Operation Dreamcatcher going on. So they were being funny, and they put, this is a Dreamcatcher's production. They play games. So I made a decision. You're either going to look at the movie and know that you're allowing them to play out a plot, or you're going to just turn it off. And I just was like, let me just see what they made. And so I did. And it was a movie about a transgender pastor. And it was about a man marrying the transgender. And then it was about somebody dying and leaving an inheritance. Then it was, I couldn't understand why it was an off the wall scene of somebody breaking into a car that didn't make any sense and it didn't go with anything. And it just was there in the movie. So I didn't see how that connected with anything. And then somebody was just sitting in jail and that didn't really connect. But the I just want to say about that, I don't really care. I think that that let's just say it the way that it is. God created me as a woman. I was born a woman and I've never had any sex changes. The the plot from that came from me calling Ketchup a faggot when he used to make me mad, and me calling the feds a faggot when they make me mad. I used to call the feds in Kentucky faggots every day, and especially the ones. In fact, one of the messages I got in my storage, still to this day, the man changed my Wi Fi code and said, I'm not gay. They used to communicate with me by changing my Wi Fi names. So I used to have a phobia about looking uh, at Wi Fi networks. Like when you have to connect to a Wi Fi, I hate it sometimes because they can change those names to anything. So what happened was they would make the name whatever they wanted. And so the man that lived across the street used to communicate and he would be hooked to my Wi Fi. And he would change his name to that. I'm not gay or whatever he wanted to say. So, but they used to be so annoying because of what they used to do, and it was real bad. But would I take Kentucky over Georgia right about now? I don't know, because I sometimes I say yeah, because all they were doing was coming in and just getting stuff and just taking pictures and stuff. That wasn't, I mean, it was annoying, and they was playing on the phone and just turning off lights, TV, and stuff like that, and not letting me go nowhere when they didn't want me on the road. But I mean, I wasn't getting death threats. Not like this. Not like this. And I sometimes say, well, maybe that's because it wasn't at that stage. Maybe they weren't trying to stage you with diseases, or if they were, they just hadn't told you yet. So, um, I don't, I don't know, but Kentucky, they weren't saying ever you're dead, and we're putting snakes and we're gonna run you over. They weren't doing any of that. They were just mental. They would turn off the lights and they can control your car because they would put systems. They had put systems on the car and the truck. And because I was with Ketchup, so Ketchup was giving them the authority to do this. And so they put systems on the car and systems on the truck to help them control it and monitor it and all that stuff. And then they was offering all of these free XM radio subscriptions, and I kept saying I don't want XM radio, and they kept doing it anyway. And then the Chevrolet Impala had a phone number to it, and they were using that. And then riding next to me on the road in the same vehicle with a Florida tag. And then they just were doing the the most you can do. I mean, one day I had made them so mad, and they just said, "Okay, you're just gonna sit in the house all day with nothing," and they cut off everything. They cut off everything, and I sat there with nothing. They didn't let me do nothing. Like Priscilla Schreier said, I couldn't do nothing. They cut off everything. I mean, those people are so powerful and annoying that I can cry every time I think about it. That somebody can just do that. And it ain't nothing you can do. You just have to sit there. And who you gonna tell? Because who you gonna tell? And you just, I left out and went to the office and asked Zeta Lane if I could use the phone. And she was them. And she was annoying and a jackass. And but she let me use the phone, and I called a cable company, and they put the same phone number on Ketchup's cell phone because Comcast is, I mean, Xfinity has phone service, and that's where Xfinity came up with that from. That's why they did that, I believe. I really do. Why they? Because they knew that we're gonna be in for this, and I think they just went ahead and invented it and said we're gonna come out with cell phone service because they knew that they had put that phone number on Ketchup's cell phone. So, 4602 was a house number, and it was Ketchup's cell phone number. And then it was up in California as 4604 on a card at Chick fil A. A black man had it with a pretending to be VA. And so they said, "You ain't going nowhere today, and you ain't getting on the phone, and you ain't gonna watch TV." They just shut everything off because they were just, and I wasn't doing lives or Facebook. I was just recording them, what they were doing and where they were, so that I would have proof. Because, God had told me to write, and the attorney had told me to write and date stamp. And so I did. That's all I did. I shut my whole life off to catch them. I shut my whole life off. I didn't want to buy no clothes. I didn't want to go nowhere. We just went to those five little places, to Walmart, to the bank, so Ketchup can cash his check from church, PetSmart to get Harvard's food, maybe to the Chinese place, and to the movie store and KFC. But in that little, that's it. That's it. I don't want to do nothing else. I'm trying to figure this thing out, what these people are looking at. Because in Kentucky, they were on me every 250 feet. It was one. I said, I don't know what this junk is. What is this? I'm talking about every 250 feet. There go one. There go one. God, what is this? And so, uh, um, I don't really care about um, what they say. It's retaliation. And I think it'll just make my case more famous. I do. It'll make more of a movie and more of a bigger plot for God to get the glory. Do I sometimes worry? Let's answer all of the questions so that this can wrap up this part of the Q&A. Do I ever worry that they have changed me internally to make me a man? No, no. I do know that you can take injections or shots that can give you features and stuff. Um, am I ever afraid of that? I don't let myself think that far. I just pray. Um, when I listen to AI talk on the phone and say stuff like, when somebody says they're taking HIV medication and it makes them swell, that is concerning because I did pick up a few pounds here, but they really did that because they wanted me to be fat to blend Inez in California. She was a 2XL, and that's why she wanted to give me all of her clothes. And so was Cheryl Bean. But she was a 2XL because she had a big booty. And so that's why they came up with that. And then the big booty was also to link Doris from 2004. And so I guess the master looked at the booty part and said, well, I see money in that too, so we'll just make her a stripper. That looks believable. And so that's where that came from. But I was born a female. I am a female. I have an ovary left. I had a partial hysterectomy. And maybe that's why they did that. Because the FBI was definitely, or someone using the name of the FBI was definitely around during that time. Do I think the plot was going at that time? Not to make me a man, but it is convenient that they took away my ability to have children. And I didn't need that surgery. And that doctor now is conveniently unlocatable. So are all of my doctors. It's any doctor I've ever had. If you were to Google them or go to their office, they're conveniently closed. I don't think that's a coincidence either. The only doctor that I can access is, and they hadn't let me access him either, Dr. Hobbs in Augusta. And I think that's because he has such a good name and they don't want him to get caught up in the slander of this. So they don't allow me to contact him. But he was the one that actually told me I didn't need the surgery. And they had it. And he said that I recommend that you go back because he didn't. He was trying not to say too much about what the other doctor did wrong, but all I had to do was listen to see what he wanted to fix, and I know what that doctor did wrong. So they wanted me to look fat and bloated and big and swole. And I think, do I think they gave me shots here? Well, listen to the conversations that were made on the phone, and that pretty much tells it. If they weren't doing it, I don't think they would waste tape and AI conversation to say it if they didn't put it in the plot. Sometimes I used to think it was just to scare me, but not this late in the game. If they said it, they said it because it has a link, and then I can just look in the environment and pick up the link. Have they been staging me or saying that they would give me HIV or AIDS for saying all the stuff I said? Yeah, they've been saying that since California. In fact, when I came out of California, I went to Bioplasma Griffles up there, and I remember when I did the blood trans the the little thing, they put me with a man, a Mexican man, and they did it. They just did so much stuff wrong that mentally I just don't allow myself to think about it because I refuse to go crazy and I refuse to just really process it. So I try to just let it go as soon as I know, or as soon as it registers what they did, because I see a lot in the course of a day and I might not link it because it's no, I'm not, you don't have to be in a rush to link it. It's going to link itself because everything is connected to everybody. So it's going to link. You don't have to be in a rush. And when I went there, it was Angel, no, it was Cecil and some girl with some weird name. And Caesar. And they took the needle and they made it hang out of my arm, and they had all kind of blood running all down, and then they said, so they could take pictures, and they said, hold on, we'll be right back, we gotta get something to clean this up so that they can have me sitting in the chair and laying there looking like I'm getting high, and they left the thing tied on my arm to make it look like I was doing heroin. They did that. And they put blood all over. They just let it run all over and walked off so that they could take pictures of it with the needle hanging in my arm. And then they had a Mexican sitting right here, and he looked dirty and grungy. And I said, when I left there, I said, God said that those machines are not right because if it's over a 1% chance that that blood can be manipulated to come back into the other person, then that machine is faulty. And so some of the feds up there agreed, because they said that's true. Because you can't tell where the two people are given plasma at the same time, and then you're trusting that system needs to be totally detached, not together, because you don't know. All that is just a wire that's going to swap those out. So that would have been very easy for them to take the machine apart before I came in and swap the hose where the blood connects and then put the machine back together with a screw. And so after that, that's when Griffles said, they called me in the office and made it look like they were telling me something bad. But really, the lady was saying that because I had seen the lady come up there with the card to give to me, and then when I had called the police about it, or whatever, I called the police up before, they told me I couldn't come back because the donor number of the printout that they gave me was different from the donor number that was on my registration. So that clearly meant this is two different people. So they said you can't come back no more, which really they was saying I couldn't come back no more because they didn't want me to have that much income. In California, they pay you $1,000 a month to do plasma. So I was just like, well, I'll just go up here and do plasma every day and at least have me some money and be homeless. And, that wouldn't be too bad. I can get me a room a couple of nights out of the week. And they were like, nah. that's not what you're gonna do, because you're still talking. So they didn't let me get plasma. So they thought that was a good opportunity to make it look like she was told that she has HIV. No, I wasn't. That's not what the lady said, and I'm quite sure I recorded it. Um, and they said that I wasn't eligible to come back to 2040 something or 2035 or something like that. But I could have went other places to do it, and I just decided that I really didn't want to do that. Were they going to allow that? At least one time, had they sent a man up there to do the same thing, to swap with me, yep, they sent that older man, Phil, that wear that brown members only jacket, the same jacket that she wear in the back, those same man clothes, back there in the room, and was also at Willie Jackson's house in 2021, February of 2021, over there in Ellenwood. Same place. Same members only jacket, same man, older man, chino pants, big and saggy. I don't get the profile with that, but that's the outfits that they picked out, and they just moving them around. So Phil had those same clothes on up there in California and was living in a man's transitional housing shelter, and was said that he had a lot of money in the bank but was using the system to stay in shelters. And so I went with him to do plasma, and he went in there and did it, got the money, didn't give me none, and was supposed to. And I think when he did go get it again, I don't know if I can't remember if he gave me some or not, or if I even went with him the next day. I'm not sure. Maybe he went by himself. But either way, I think he gave me $20 or something for like going up there with him or something like that. But that was the deal. Uh, and he was definitely me, and swapped with me up there. So at Griffles in Upland, California, off of Foothill Boulevard. So the whole man transgender thing came from me calling these agents faggots. And so when that's why they say it's karma and all of that, so we getting you back. But do I ever really be worried that they actually changed anything in the inside or gave me shots? Because if they did that, they would have to have some type of testing that in a court it would come up that she's a male, in order to really say that she's transgender. Um, I don't know if that's blood or not, if you have to actually take the hormones to do that. I don't know. I do know at Anthony's house that I felt very warm. Um, at Joe's house I did, and here recently, like in the last week, the warm sensation started back. Um, do I really do I think about if they gave me AIDS or not? No. Um, no. I don't allow myself to really think about that. Um, it's nothing God can't cure, and it's already a cure for that. It's just not released to the black people, but it's already a cure for that. They allow it to be slowed down in the black community because it's a way to still make money. And I'm not really trying to be racist about it, but that's the truth. And in California, they told me they wasn't trying to take that off the market. And that was an actual conversation. A man told me that he was having a hypothetical conversation with me, and it was because of what I had said. And so he was like, yeah, they're not going to let, age and stuff come off because I know someone that did that and they shut him down. And so he was just talking, but he was talking without talking. And so, no, I don't be worried about that. Um, I try not to. I try not to think of how evil the law can be. I'm already living with the fact that they use men to be around me and do everything that I say because they say they cloned me and know what my thoughts are or what AI projects my thoughts to be. That's annoying enough. So if I say right now, I'm thinking about a shower, he will come out of the room and say it like he just did for the camera. So you have your AI projection thoughts, and then you have a man that's following what you said. If I was to think about a Whopper with cheese right now, the dude in room C will order from Burger King, and the Whopper with cheese will come. If I was to say tomorrow, I'm going to Clayton County, he would go first and go there in the car. It would be seen in the parking lot. And then I would go to Clayton County. And then we're moving. And if I get on MARTA, he's behind MARTA. And if I go to Walmart after that, he's across the street. So they're moving in unison everywhere you go. And they tell you that because they want you to sit up there and be boggled in your mind so that you just go crazy. And then once you start slobbing out of your mouth and eating your own feces and walking down the street, talking to cars, they will totally leave you alone. And you will get a check, and they still won't let you have no place to live, just in case your mind comes back once you get okay. So that's why my sister Sharon still doesn't have a place to live, and she's for them already. And I still won't let her have a place to stay. So you just run from them for the rest of your life. It's like once you marked, then you just run for the rest of your life. And they don't leave you alone. And it's not so bad if you could tell somebody, but they don't let you talk to nobody. It's like I've never seen it before in my life how you can block somebody out of a whole world and you still be in the world, but you really not. You're really not. But you are, but you're not. Because you're surrounded by you're in a swoosh, a little pool of people that just go wherever you go, and they prevent you from getting to anybody real, and you just stay in this swoosh, and it's like a wave of people, like 200 or 300 people, that's just wherever you can, wherever your little heart and mind can think about going, we are already there. And it's about 50 of us over there. That's why my sisters calls them an army. So it's not an army. That's not the military. That's just how many people they put on you. And so you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing. And you just, and they keep saying, your family be like, why you, which they know, which everybody know. Because I just was looking at Sharon and just said, well, how in the world did her life get so bad? Like, nobody can have that much bad luck. You just can't. Something gotta go right. When them people send a tsunami, they send it, they crush everything in sight. And then they wait to aggravate you so bad till you pretty much beg to go to jail. You pretty much beg, like, please, that would be awesome. Nope, nope. We want to play. And it's like I just feel like I don't let you tell nobody because they just lie. They lie all day. They just tell lies. Lies. Real ones. Lies. And my own family know it. And they don't say nothing. Because they can't. They can't. It's not like Easter was my favorite sister. And they just don't let you go and tell nobody. You just can't. You tell anybody, we're gonna cut the phones off. And next time you call, that it's not your sister you're talking to. That's artificial intelligence. They done changed the voice, and they are typing into a computer, telling it what to say. And that number you calling is they talking to somebody. That's a drug conversation. That conversation is split. And you say, well, that's was Easter's number. You really look crazy in court. Man, that number goes to Boweezy in Florida that was bringing you a ton of cocaine last night. These people are retarded. They just tell lies all day and give you bad information. Every time I talk on the phone, he is too. Put them phones on mutes and just be running three-way calls. You call out, is forwarded to this number, and he on the phone with that number, and they're gonna blend them conversations. I was talking to Easter. No, you were not talking to Easter. And you weren't talking to Gwanda, and you weren't talking to nobody you thought you was. That's why now all of a sudden GDC say your calls go to a center, and then they have Gwanda to say the calls go to a center. It did not. It went to them. They answered the phone, but they want you to be calling other cell phones. So all the numbers that I called, that's why they all ended in card numbers. Dooley Prison was 2007. Isn't that not your card? I just can't do this. And they just laugh. They just laugh about it. So the movie, did it bother me? No. No. They know I think they're nuts. No. It was flattering in a little bit, because they made a movie to spite me. It's and they use Ketchup's mama's house, which means you own it. That's what that means. And they actually, you know, just was then the car that was broken in and stolen. Wasn't that the car that just brought me here yesterday? So no, and then the lady have on the same gray hoodie. I just don't. No, that don't bother me. I stopped crying because Gwanda just said she was crying yesterday, and then the other girl from last Monday on the 31st said that she was crying all day, and that's been a plot lately, so I didn't want to fall into that. So, yes, I felt a twinge of emotion, but I have to control my emotions because my emotions are played with what other people say. So, no. And I don't ever want it to look like I'm sad and don't have no hope. So, no. No. I have hope. I have hope. And I still think that it is still a good movie because I feel like everybody knows that this is what they did to that black girl. And she now got a movie. And now all these laws changed. And, um, girl, it's the number one movie in America, like over and over and over again. And it's got so much money they made. They made over $1 billion off that movie. You know, it's the highest grossing movie of all time. Of all time. Like, all time. Because it's like, it. Look at what it's doing. It went from the bad to the good to the miracle in the end, the treats for the world. It's the best feel good holiday movie ever. And, you know, it's the highest grossing movie of the entire century. No movie has ever made that much money. And it whenever it go on the shelf, it sells out. And that's because people can't believe it happened, and she won so many victories. Like, I just didn't win the Fed case. Once the miracles start, nobody looked at the Fed case anymore. It was all about the miracles, the green, all of the stuff that came out of it. And then it's the everybody cry when they look at it. And I got a museum and the movies and all these spin-off shows that came from it. And it ain't one person in Hollywood that don't want the deal, the movie deal, because it's everything. It's 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 sex, it's scandal, it's money, it's greed, it's power, it's lust, it's everything. It has everything. And mainly people are so interested because they would be like, I can't believe a man did that to her. Golly. And that part. And if the law can get over themselves enough to get over that, then they'll be like, she right, that would sell. Because everybody wants to see, everybody know cops are dirty, but they don't know how dirty they can really be. And so it's fine, high time to just go ahead and admit it. Everybody has a bad apple, and she just had a bad apple. And they can make up stuff to go around it. Who really cares about that? That's not what the movie is about. The movie is about what happened after that, how she made it. out of that. And that restores the law. See, they lost credit when it comes on. Okay, a man was doing this, she was under investigation, and he was doing all this stuff to her. Okay, yeah, all right, woo woo. But, and wow, she's alive. She made it, she's alive. Wow, and she did all these wonderful things. She did all these wonderful things. And when the movie go off, people would be like, "Where my money at? How do I get something? Where do I go? I want to. I want." That's where people would be. Nobody would even be thinking about him no more. Who, that he wouldn't. That wouldn't even come up. They would be when the movie go off. People would be like, "Okay, call 713. Okay, what? All right, wait, go back. What's the college name? Okay, Google her. Google her. That's what it would be. It wouldn't be. So where the agent at? Who would care? Nobody would care. The agency doesn't even have to be involved or listed. Who cares? They could lie and make it a state probation officer. Who cares? That doesn't matter. It just matters what got her to this level and all the laws that changed. And she got a phone and she is like, boom, like huge. You know, she's the richest black lady in the entire world. Might be the richest person in the world. She's the richest black lady ever. And her movie is the highest grossing movie of all time. It made over $1 billion. Everybody looked at that movie. Everybody looked at that movie. You know, there's has the most showing times. That movie played all day, every hour, and every seat was full every hour. That it's gonna bring that attention. And so, and it's called Soar, the Crystal Ketchup story. You know, and so I can't wait. And so at the end, I want, clips of me doing this right here, talking about it. You know, it's so many good things. It's manifesting. It's seeing beyond what I see, having hope against all hope. You know, I can't sit in here and be like, when they said they're gonna kill me every day, what kind of life is that? So I hope in what God said, and no, I don't sit here and let myself think, what are you gonna do? They made you a man. Nothing. They made me a man, then they just made me a man. And if they sent me to prison, then I just get to have all those men to pick from to have sex with. So, really, they would be like, "How the hell you got up in here? This girl got a real pussy. You gotta feel this." But they would definitely pass me around in there. Golly. They would be like, "You just gonna stick it over all day." Okay, golly, give me a break. So, no, I do laugh about that sometimes. That if they say they're gonna put you in prison, they made you a man, you're definitely, and I would be like, "Hold up, you don't have to rape anything, just wait." Just pause it. Like Jesse the Planner say, "Pause, wait, let me just see who I'm gonna talk to in here." And then I would be protected from there. But I don't. I just be jiving. I don't really pay that any attention. I trust that God will step in at some point and block and defend me from every trap. It's not definitely going to make me get so uh, panicky about it that I have to start showing my body parts to prove that I'm a lady. The feds watch me every day, all day. They know every part of my body, and they probably know it as good as I do. It's nothing like a federal roast being roasted by the feds. So they know everything on my body and the size and all of it. They know everything. In fact, I think that is so humiliating that they have that type of access. I just I just wonder sometimes, like, so do they just watch celebrities like that? What kind of power is that? That you could just access anybody you want. You could just literally just be living with your favorite celebrity and they'll never know. You'll never know. You could just watch, who is fine. If I was a Fed and I wanted to see, who would I want to see? Matthew McConaughey. Let's see what his penis looked like. And you can just tap into his Wi-Fi and watch him take a shower. And like, wow, you know, wow, wow. And I can't imagine what their conversations must be like having that type of ability. So when it comes down to me, I don't be worried. They know they're lying, so I don't have to sit up here and really worry about that. Um, do I want to build it all the way out? No. I'm not a man. I'm not transgender. I'm not Catherine. I'm not Chris. I'm not nothing of what they said. And they're not going to make me a pastor either. Because a pastor is only to link more taxes and sexual immorality. And they play with church. And I looked at that movie tonight, how they play with church. And they're not going to bluff me and make me into a pastor. Who God called me to be is who God called me to be. They're not going to make me run out there and say you should be a pastor. That's only so you could get saying that so they can make me Jacqueline Carr. They already said that. They already said that. So we want to get you back in that role, so we can make it good, because it looked like you already was that. Because I looked at that, they got this little Mexican man that keep appearing on all these different songs that I be saying, and I be saying, why does that Mexican man keep appearing on all these songs? And where does Joe have all these Mexican men? Good night. That's why that Mexican man around that corner be so quiet. He's the swap. He's the swap. They got to think about it. The ones that be talking loud, yeah, they talking loud, but it's always them quiet ones, the ones that don't say nothing. That you be like, that I did see him. That's the one it was. That's probably the one keep sending the emails, cause you ain't suspecting him. He ain't in Joe's house for no reason. He in there for a reason. Ain't nobody staying in none of these houses that Joe got that ain't connected to this. Nobody. So if he in there for a reason. What is he doing? And he's Mexican. And Joe's told me to come out of that room and let him stand up when it was two other rooms empty. That's why I got so mad at Joe in October and I left. I said, you telling me to come out of a room so he can go in there? Because he's your swap. And work before and early in the morning shift. and get off early in the morning and go in there and lay in their room all day. That's him. When you be asleep, that's your swap. When you be asleep, he's working. And I just got tired of it. And when I look at it and say, you in the house with all these men and them girls in the back that hide, that don't never come out. That's why they got the master bathroom. So they'll never come out. And they doing this, and you know it. Yep. And if I sit here and let it aggravate my brain, they win. So I don't. I can't. I have to just deal with what God said and try to pay attention to keep my body healthy and whole. But I have been warm in this last week. Just in this last week, I started with the warm feelings again in the inside. So it happened after the 31st. It happened that night. It happened around that time. So I've already said that Joe's house he created this house. It's a torture house. It's a torture chamber. He don't run no air but the poison. And he don't run no heat. They make me freeze. I saw the messages today in the phone. So in the winter, they make me freeze. On the coldest night of the year, it was no heat in this house. And on the hottest days of the year, he don't turn on no AC. And that's so they'll send drug traffic or people to pretend to be drug traffic or come here, and you lay in the bed and sweat, and they'll have everybody else come out the room with jackets on. And so you look like you're in there sweating from drugs. And they will purposely tell somebody to put on a jacket and a hat and come out the room and go in the refrigerator. And they will do that. And say, oh, it's cold in here. God, it's cold in this house. And I will be in this room and the thermostat will say 99. And he will be done, came by and gave everybody air conditioners in their window. And I'll be the only one without one. And so they will all be cold and cool and nice. And I will be in here sweating. That's what he does. And they all come out at different times and say their little scripts. And they stand right in the front of that camera right there. And they talk. If I think of ice right now, they're going to go in the kitchen. A man is going to come and go in the kitchen and get his ice. If I think about getting on the phone, they're going to get on the phone. If I'm on this live right now, they are too. But they're on probably some type of live chat, or they're on the phone on the same with a different YouTube channel, and it's probably just connecting so that their device is doing the same thing that I'm doing. So about the movie, no, I don't care. I can't believe they made the movie around the corner. Maybe they're going to say I'm in movie making. So they made a movie right around the corner, and they even put the address up there, 5492, which is 2. So I can't believe they did that. And backed the car in, and that car is the same car that they had the boy to steal on there. That car is the same car that was in Marietta that Mary had. It was white, and they had a similar car at Flint River Road with the girl and the guy that had my same haircut or hairstyle, but he had the actual haircut. In August of 2023, he was over there pretending to be me. So the brown khaki uniform, the prison uniform that I had on, that's why Gwanda said on that, Gwanda knew the plot when she saw the picture. And Gwanda knew it because Gwanda said, "Oh, girl, you actually look cute. You look cute as a little boy. You look like you got keys overseas." And the Fed said, "That's it. That's where we gonna go with it." And they were already going with it, so they sent the actual man in there, and he played the part of just getting out of prison, Fed prison for drugs, and they put him over there and told him to do his hair just like mine was on that picture. And he was dark skinned. They weren't worried about the color because that's why they introduced the contour. So it really making it look like you use these dark color contours to change your skin. I got it. I got it. Am I going to build it all the way out? No, I'm not even tempted to anymore because it's stupid and it's not going to prosper. It's not going to work. So no. And I'm watched by too many people. So if God allow it, then I'll just be the most famous case in history. That's it. And I think I'm already that. In California, they told me I had over 10,000 people, agents, looking at this. Over 10,000. They said I had well exceeded that. So, and that's why they came up. That's why the next plot was OnlyFans and online prostitution, because they had to justify all that data. I had Metro let over 2 terabytes of service of data, of gigabytes, be on my phone. And that was because all of them was connecting to me. And so it was over 2 terabytes. And when I seen that, I said, I'm going to tell. And they cleaned it up. And that's why you got online prostitution, OnlyFans. And, want me to look like I'm a prostitute. Well, I mean, truth be told, even if I wanted to be a prostitute, they wouldn't even let me. I mean, you can go ahead and have sex with trash, outside of, Garnett Station and get you $3. But, you won't get no. If I was going to be a prostitute, I would be feds only. Wouldn't have to call me no name. I would do it for free. Just, but no, they don't. It's not like you would just get to be like, okay, they're staging me as a prostitute, so okay, good, I'm gonna sell. I can do this. I'll sell coochie and make me. No, you still won't. You would just get garbage. You can get those men that's, in wheelchairs at the Garnett station, and you can suck dirty balls and, something like that. Or no, but you wouldn't get the real men that like to play, that you can actually take their money and make something of yourself. No, and then it would probably be counterfeit. They would probably run so many games around that. Godly, just forget it. Just forget it. I don't even want to do it. Forget it. Forget I said it. So no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't be as fun as it would. If it. You could actually be like, okay, I just got me a couple of sugar daddies, or one. No, they would make it so bad that you would just be like, sir, I don't want anything. I'm just gonna wait on the Lord. Nah, I'm good. It wouldn't be like that. So no. So prostitution is, but that wasn't why it wasn't an option for me. It wasn't an option for me because I just, I just, I had, by the grace of God, I just kept believing in myself. And I just would not let them make me that. And I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't let them make me that. And that, because it's too easy. Every time Catch Up would not give me money, they put a dick in my face. Like, here's your way out. Here's a dick. And I just kept seeing the work of the enemy. That they would, Catch Up would stop, and then they would present a dick. And it was like clockwork. And you could see the correlation. And I just, as long as the church open, nope. Run to the church. I just can't. I just keep calling on the name of the Lord. I can't. I just go and tell the church. They offer me a dick. I don't care how bad it sounds, ma'am. I cannot suck dick. I cannot suck dick for money. Please help me. I can't. Please. I can't. I can't. I, by the grace of God, He has just kept me. But they did that. Every time Catch Up would not give me no money. Here come a set of balls, and it's not going to be no balls that you would want. It's not going to be anything remotely that you would even like. They will get a man that has not bathed in 5 years and would have the dirtiest, sweatiest balls with literal gangrene growing on them. He would say, got $20. And it won't even be real. The Abraham Lincoln would. What am I gonna do with that? Like, you can get it. Like, I can't do that. Abraham Lincoln is shooting a bird at me. I can't do that, literally. I can't. So you just don't get, you're not getting real options. If it was one in like the blacked out trucks, smelling good with those crispy white shirts on, you don't have to ask. Okay? And we don't have to discuss any money because this is not about money. Do you know who you are? Let's just take everything off. So, no, you don't get to have fun. You get to have sex with garbage or nothing. Salamanders. critters or something that got put out of Grady Hospital. You know, fungus balls. So, but truth be told, I will tell the truth because I like to be transparent. In 2012, I had, I had lost all that weight after mommy died, and I was like a 7'8", and I said, I'm going to Atlanta, and I'm going to live near Perimeter Parkway, and I'm going to be really cute and get me a cute little job, and I am going to find me the richest white man to play with. And I really wanted a relationship, but I wasn't going to get anyone that was broke, you know. And so, I've always, rich, I'm not, I can say rich, but white men have always found me attractive. They like my breasts, and, you know, they like to use the word play. And so I had one in 2004. That's how I got, I can't say that, but um, that's, it was beneficial to me. It was not, I never did anything, but I just used to like to flirt with white men. And I just like to hear what they have to say. And they say the darndest things. And so I just like to flirt with them. And so I had really big boobs, or big enough. And I used to wear the little spaghetti tops. And so when I used to go to a certain place, he used to be like, gosh, you just got the girls all out in my face. And I'd be like, so I just, you know, I still need deliverance in that area because I'm very sexual. And I think because I'm 48, I might be hitting a peak time in my life, but because I swear that's all I think about sometimes, and I literally have to tell myself, what in the world is going on? Girl, these people are doing the most to you, and you're thinking about screwing Crystal. But I think that's my age, you know. My body is doing something, you know. And that's really all I can think about is when I get out of this and meet my hero. And that's all I want to do for a while. We don't even have to talk. We don't even have to say anything. It's just get in the room and just take everything off. And when we come up for air, but no, I did, so I was going to come up here, get me a cute little car, and me dainty and all cute, and fly me one of these ballers, you know, up near Perimeter Parkway. And we can play all day. So, but never did I, want to be like a prostitute, you know. But really, to be honest with you, I really don't think that if the law was to really charge me with that, I think that I would make a good defense. And I think that I would be probably the first one to beat that, to make the laws changed around that. Unless you're advertising that, it's not prostitution. You have to be advertising, and you have to, you know, use the words, and that. But I don't think, because, what woman, if you ask any woman right now, they're going to say, you say, well, girl, that man asked you to have sex and what you, girl, he that broke nigga. That's the first thing they going to say. So then that means if he had money, you would do it. So then that makes you, does that make her a prostitute? No. I think a prostitute goes out with the intent to put her cat on sale. But I don't think if a white man said, come meet me at Nobu and let's have a drink and play, I don't think that's prostitution. I think that's two consenting adults that decided to get in the bed and have a good time. And hopefully it will be a good time. But I don't think that's prostitution. Now, what they do to me is I've noticed all these men use different states. See, you have to pay attention to these fake emails. So they will say one is coming from this place. Like, I'm trying to figure out, why do you have to keep saying where you coming from? And then you ain't saying me. Maybe China must be gone, you know, or my duplicate, or the men go. You know, I don't know. But somebody goes. But I was trying to figure out, why do they have to say where they're from? So then that must be a thing. Because then they wouldn't need to keep saying it. Because they all say the same thing. They're coming in from a town and they're doing this and they're doing that. Well, I don't know why you have to keep saying that, you know. So, but no, I'm not interested in being a prostitute. Um, if I had a man that, you know, really offered me the dream ticket, I don't see what woman in her right mind wouldn't take it. I would have to pray seriously and ask God for wisdom. But if I had one nice looking guy and it wasn't prostitution, but it was like a, you know, and I can't say pretty woman because she was the prostitute, so I can't use that. But if we bypass the first part of that, and then I just met him at Walmart. Well, he wouldn't be at Walmart, so let's see, where could I meet a rich guy at? Starbucks early in the morning, between 6 and 7, or gym. Nope, he's gonna have his own gym. So Starbucks. Um, he wouldn't go to a bank. Where else would he be? He ain't gonna go to the mall. Where else could I meet a rich white man? Hmm. Where would he be in maybe going to a meeting? May. Oh, dinner. 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 A good steakhouse. Ruth Chris, maybe a hotel lobby, maybe. Um, he'll be doing business. So yeah, so a nice, rich hotel, and then again, he may not be in the lobby because he drinks by himself. He's doing business, so nope, won't even do that. But that's just giving an example, hypothetical speaking. And now, why did I say that? I said that to say, I met him there, and then, you know, he thought I was attractive, and then we talked, and then, you know, we had dinner and laughed, and then it just went into, you know, can I have your number, and then I'll call you, and then the next day, you know, something like that, and then we eventually, you know, have a conversation. I don't think I don't want to have premarital sex but I just trust that God will help me make good, wholesome decisions. But it would be hard if I met a good looking white man and he said, I'll take care of you. I'll be like, honey, get yourself over here and come get me. I'll leave all this into the room. Let's go. That's me talking. And then once I swear to God, once I have sex and all that stuff, I'll be back on the edge. The police know it. I'll be back on the edge of the bed saying, Lord, please. real, real moment. Because I want that, but I want to be married. And I don't want to make God mad. I don't want to hurt him. But do I really want to be a freak? Yes. What woman doesn't? But I want to be that with I want to be that in the confines of my own bedroom. I don't want to be that with anything running around Atlanta. I'm just not that type of person. The feds know that. I've always been a one woman girl, a one man girl. Golly, I never should have said that. I've always been a one man. Now, with have I had some promiscuous times? Yes, that's part of exploring and having a good time and enjoying life. But that is over. Am I embarrassed about it? No. Uh, I was young and I experimented with sex. I've had sex with women. I've had an orgy before. I have had threesomes before. And uh, I was young. I had fun. I did what I wanted to do. Would I do it at 48? No. 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 I would. No. I would just. This is why I say God ain't called me to be no pastor because I like to talk. I like to say what I want to say, but at the same time, I keep it real. Maybe this time next year, you won't be able to pay me to have this conversation. That's growth. He takes me from glory to glory. I used to smoke weed. I used to go with a girl. I used to commit crime. I used to drink alcohol. And no girl, no weed, no alcohol, no cigarettes, no crime. So he did all that. So as I keep worshiping him and say, I am the righteousness of Christ, he will take that away. But I do like to talk about sex, and I do like to, probably because I'm not having none, and I do like to talk about my life. It's boring, so ain't nothing else for me to really talk about but that, and this stupid situation, and me moving on with my life. But yeah, I like to talk about it. It's part of me being transparent, and but no, I don't want to have a threesome. I want to be with one guy, and I want that guy to be from law enforcement. And I don't mean lower class. I mean not lower clearance. I want a federal agent because he understands. And that's just what I want. And I dreamed it today. So, would you like to know about my dream? All right, I'll tell you. And in my dream, I was really, it was so weird because I was looking around saying, am I really dreaming? Am I dreaming it? And I was in the dream and I had caught U-Haul. Oh, I'm so glad I looked at my phone. I, let me see. Okay. So I had caught U-Haul. And basically, um, U-Haul had um, gave a lady that I was with access to a unit that they shouldn't have gave access to. And so I had told the lady, I want I want the mattresses out of there. And I want this furniture. And so the lady said no. But the lady that had gave the access to the lady that was getting the furniture, the okay, in the dream, the lady that had gave the access to the furniture to the gave the access to the lady to the U-Haul was the law. So they was setting the person up to get the furniture out the U-Haul by giving them access to the unit. So the lady didn't let me get none of the furniture out of the unit. So I was mad. So when I went back over there and was mad, I thought about it and was like, wait a minute, that's a link. So I went back over there to look at the furniture that was in the unit, and it was an address on there, a lot number. And then in the dream, it was weird because it turned to a trailer. So I think the storage unit had an address on it that went to a trailer that was in Augusta. So I was like, oh, look what I found. And I was so happy because it was like ding, ding, ding. This was like major. And I dreamed I was so happy, and he busted in the trap. He came like he was there already. And he was listening, and when I found that out, it was like so big that it was what I had uncovered, that it broke the whole case. Everything just shattered because I connected it so fast. And he was so happy, and he just came. Like, he just ran up on me. Like, how they run up on you when you finna go to jail. He ran up on me like that. And I turned around, and we was so happy, and he got on his knees, and he proposed, and he picked me up. I didn't even get a chance to say yes. Like, he picked me up, and we started kissing, and I left with him. And that was the end. And we was done. And oh, he took me to somewhere, office, and wherever he had to go to get clearance to do it legally, and they gave him permission. It was over, and we went away. I think we left. I know we left the state of wherever we was at. We left, and we lived happily ever after. We went and got a hotel, and he officially asked to marry me at the hotel and gave me the ring, and he asked me to marry him while we were having sex, and he gave me a ring, and it was the ring that I picked out, and he had it, and I said yes, and that was the end of it. And I dreamed it today, and I was like, I dreamed it. Yes, it's gonna happen. Like he came, like he just like he was already there, and he just like, come here, girl. I was like, oh, oh. was so happy, and he came. Like he didn't care about nobody that was there. Like nobody. Like we didn't even see them. Like he bust in just like they do when you finna go to jail. Except for he was coming to get me, and I had cracked the case, and because I had linked it, I was like, this is, and I said it, and so he went and told somebody, and they were like, "You good to go?" And I was it. That was it. It was over. And he took me with him, and I got in the car and rode off into the sunset and never came back and left. Went to a hotel. He asked to marry me, and I said yes. And we started our life, and I never came back. I went with him. So maybe it'll be something like that. I don't know, but I, I was so happy that I dreamed it today, that I woke up and I really didn't want to come out of the dream. I really didn't. But I woke up because my alarm didn't go off. And so I woke up to that, but I dreamed it. I definitely saw it. And, he didn't care who was around, but it was at a good time because nobody was really at the storage but the law and the scout. And so um, I had pulled out my phone, so the law was gone, so really nobody was there but the scout. And he just picked me up, and I was so happy. And I was so happy. I think I would be the happiest woman in the entire world. I wrote him a poem last night, and I didn't write it in my notebook, but I wrote him a poem last night. I think that is another part about the movie that'll be so good because he is a he is a he is a it's a love story, and it's so unique. And I think that's another reason why everybody would be so uh, drawn to this, why it would make so much money, because what are the odds? It's possible, but what are the odds? Like, I know officers every day see a chick that they might have to watch, and she might be fine, but this is more than that. This is, I get to be her hero, and I actually get to save her and protect her, and I'm actually in love with her. And it's just, I can't wait to be with him, and to really, like, when I had the dream, and I it was so real, and I was really there with him, and it was okay, and I just knew that everything was over. I never I never worried about anything else. I was just with him, and I didn't, everything just fell away. I didn't need a bag. I didn't need the phone. I didn't care about a storage. I didn't care about nothing. I just was with him, and everything that ever existed before him did not matter anymore. I mean, I don't mean my children and grandchildren, but with this, it just didn't matter anymore. I just knew that I'm finally safe, I'm finally okay, and I can finally be at peace. And I just, I laid in his arms, and that was the best feeling. I was the happiest in that dream ever. And I really didn't want to wake up. I tried to stay in it, and I could have, but I needed to redo my phone. And by the time I redid my phone, I had lost it, you know, and I didn't want to make myself go back into it, but I just laid there and held on to the feeling for as long as it was there, and then woke up in this stupid junk, and then that retarded boy had somebody come to the door, and they just messed up everything. But um, no, I really just, I felt myself with him, and he was everything delicious, and I just, you know, wait for it, and I definitely don't like to keep talking about it. You know, you would think that's something I would like to think about every day, but no, because I'd be not wanting to say something about that, because then the people that really don't like me get mad, because, you know, they know, I don't know how they know, well, they know that I don't necessarily know if they know who it is, but they know that somebody really loves her. I think the FBI know who it is. They know. But I don't think the other smaller people know who it is. And I don't think all of the FBI know. But I think that the major FBI know who it is. And I think that people get mad that are setting me up, because they know if she said it, then it's really happening, and that are we wasting our time with this? Because if she really do got this connection, then he's going to defend her, and we don't know who it is. And the brilliant thing about it, but it's not just him. That's it. You know, I'm saying it because they cleared me in California. You know, it was not just one person, and it was the people in California. Yes, I was still being set up by, you know, Georgia's team, but California knew that I wasn't guilty. So I had developed quite a nice group of people that were defending me, and so, or watching it. So, and I don't really ever be worried about going to jail, because for a federal agent to defend me, they never have to appear anywhere. They are so brilliant. They can make anything show up at any place at any time. So they can, the prosecutor can go to work one day and just have all this evidence on their computer that's uploaded and they don't know where it came from. That they have that capability. So, or they can have classified reports sent in and don't have to use their name. And it will just get where it needs to go. They're magical people in that they work like ghosts. So I don't ever be worried about going to jail because it's the least of my worries, going to jail. I just want to be officially cleared so he can come get me. And I wonder if I need to get out of this house to move myself so he can come get me. Because I did get messages that said I was free. But I'm like, I can't be free because if I'm free, he would come get me. But will I think he'll pull up to Joe's house? No. So I do wonder. But in the dream, he just came. Like he just, I was like so happy. I looked and I was like, ah! I was like so happy. I was so happy. So, maybe, it was just a good dream to have, and I woke up on like Law's number, literally, I did. And so, I don't know. I think it'll be a good story. When I had the dream today, I did say, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I did think that I did hope in California that Ketchup would save me and that it would be him. And that we would have this love that made it through. But I just, especially after I seen the movie tonight, I seen like it was, I detested what the movie was about, but it was a Dreamcatcher promotion, and it was Ketchup's mama's house, and it was a black man dating a transgender woman and making her very happy. And then the man kept singing in the movie. And so I said, well, maybe this is Ketchup's way of saying that he still loves me. But I don't like the way they did it. I'm not a transgender and he's not gay. So I just don't want that narrative. And I don't want to rehearse this for the rest of my life. And I just want Ketchup to be happy and us to have peace within ourselves. I don't think he'll ever forget me because this was a very unusual situation. And I did. I mean, even in California, they wanted me to come back to Georgia. AJ said, well, you said that he was the one. And so they manipulated so much about our relationship. If we ever got back together, if God wanted that, then God would have to do a lot of emotional healing. And sometimes that can just be too much. I don't ever want to hate him. But when in that dream, when I was with Batman, it was just, and I'm not going to call him that, but when I was with my hero, it was just the best feeling that I've ever had in my life. And it felt genuine, it felt sincere, that was the same word. It felt pure, and I've never been happier in my life than I was in that moment, and that was a dream. And it was, I hate to say it, like Ketchup lost me, but I just feel like I did when Ketchup didn't send me the money. I felt that he was being mean to me because I text the man those sexual messages, and he was being vindictive. But then again, I said there was no connection when I had sex with him the last time. There was nothing that he gave me that said that he still wanted me. But in 2020, the man they had told him stop kissing and fondling me when we had sex. And Ketchup doesn't know that I know that, but I did. They told him that. We had sex at Maddie's house at 1000 over here by Life Storage, those apartments, Belmont. In that 1000 building, we had sex when she first moved in there in her son's room, and we were staying in there that night, and we had sex, and we were husband and wife, so he was making love to me, and they told him, stop, and he didn't. From that day on, he didn't. He stopped. They wanted him to look like he was fucking me, and to make it look like it was, no intimacy, and he didn't. So I was looking to see if there was anything that he had given me, but I didn't see it the last time. He still gave me a kiss before he left, but maybe I think he did that out of feeling like just what I'm used to doing, but I don't think he wants me anymore. And I'm okay with that. I just want to wish him well, and I'm not holding what he did against him because I can't. If I really thought about everything that Ketchup did to me, I would be nuts. And that's what they did it for. And so I'm not going to let it be that, because that's what it was done for. So the answer is no. To think about your husband laid next to you and had phones and cards and was setting you up in different places and giving those phones to police and taking stuff out of the house and taking your clothes for different girls and people to wear and leaving work and going to shop. Do you really want to think about everything he did? No, no. I want to see myself in the arms of my hero and see myself happy and maximizing on the next years of my life and being happy and waking up with somebody that I can join forces with to change the world. I don't want to think about anything else. I want to literally have it like I saw in my dream, to wake up with him. And what life are you talking about, honey? I want to be like God. That's in the sea of forgetfulness. I thought that I would want to have that one powwow that I said we would have, but in the dream when I saw him, it was just like, child, who cares? I don't want to know. I don't care. Where are we going? And that was in the dream. I didn't ask him, well, what did my sister do? And, you know, what car did she have? I don't care. We moved on and we were happy. And I think that's what matters, to finally be with him in that way. Why would I want to talk about anything else? There's nothing else to talk about. It would be such a privilege. It would be such a blessing. It would be such a miracle to be with him. It would be almost insulting to want to talk about, well, did you know that the dude in the white car, that, really? Like, I bet he would say, really? Like, I got you this bomb ring. I got you this wonderful place, and wherever you want to go. And this is what you want our conversation to be like. This is the energy that you want to bring. Heck, no, no. I don't want to talk about nothing. Matter of fact, we can take Georgia off the list if you want. We don't ever have to see it ever again in our lives. We can just forget it. Like, I don't want to talk about that. Well, we can't forget it because I got business to do, but can't forget it. But, you know, maybe I'll just send my representatives down here to do everything I want to do. But I don't I don't want to waste time talking about that. I was so happy in that dream. And whether it was, can I say it was a God dream? Was it one of my prophetic dreams? I don't know, you know, but I know that um, I've been wanting to dream about him for a while, and I didn't. I haven't. I think about it every night before I go to bed, and I have these most stupid dreams ever in life. And part of that dream was weird, but towards the end, it wasn't. It was, I felt like myself dreaming again. And I was so happy to be with him. I think it'll make the best love story. It'll be better than the Titanic. You know, it'll be the best love story ever. And that movie will make so much money. And I just want that to literally, I want that feeling that I had in that dream, that completeness. And I don't, I would like to, you know, get that one conversation with Ketchup that's just us. And, but I don't want him miserable. I want him happy and peaceful and in whatever that is. I, even though he did this to me, I would still move heaven and earth for him not to ever be in any situation that I've been in. If they told me Ketchup's in a tsunami, I would I would cry my eyes out for him. I would, I pray for him. I pray for him today. I pray for him all the time. I just think that my love for him was real. And just because his wasn't for me, I don't have to be who he was to me. Like I loved him for real. When they took him for me, when they took him for me, it was the worst. I saw it in slow motion. And when it was official, it broke my heart so bad. And I finally feel that I can go on with my life. And I'm ready to do that. I want to do that. And I feel that I finally healed. I read that book and I believe God healed me. And I feel good in my heart. I don't have any hurt. If I was to see him with a woman tomorrow at Walmart, I would probably be like, wow, he's moved on. But would I be mad? No. Would I, might say, well, are you going to still send me the alimony? How you doing, sweetheart? I just wanted to ask, but no, I wouldn't, because I, I wanted, I wanted, I want this dream of mine to come true, and I believe it will. I got a lot of love messages in California, a lot. And at first, I thought it was just the love messages tricking me to get back down here so they can finish swapping. But it's not. It's really love in the cards for me. And I do have a good life ahead of me. And it will be a miracle. It really will. It will. And I believe that. And so I want to just wait and keep my pants up and not, be out here having sex with somebody and with all of these agents looking at me, women and men. And I want to have a good character so that he can see I'm a good person. I don't want him to think I'm a loser or, that I'm a jerk. So I want, when he see, you know, I don't want to feel like a second class citizen with him, because I will probably already feel beneath him in a way, like undeserving. But I won't feel that way. I didn't feel that way. I think I'm just saying that, but because in the dream I didn't feel that way. When I saw him, it was just like another person, and I was just like in love with him. Like, talk about love at first sight. When I saw him, I just knew that he was happily ever after, and he was just like my everything. Like, he was everything, and I was just like, oh my god, this is such a treat. And we was just like, I was crying and he was too, and it was just, and the scout was just like standing there like, what the world just happened? And we just like left. We was just like, done. We're done with that. Like, you sit here and figure out what to do with that. We were gone. And he took me somewhere to some place, and they, it was like some federal building he took me to, and he went in. He said, "You stay here," and I said, "Okay," and I stayed. And he came back, and he said, "You're free," and I said, "Really?" He was like, "Yeah, it's official," and and we went to the hotel to get some rest, and then the next day, like, he just, I looked into his eyes and I cried, and he asked me to marry him. And I said, okay. And when when he was holding me, I felt ever have to worry about anything else again in my life. I have never felt so safe and protected and loved and wanted and sheltered. And I don't know, I don't want to, like I said, I thought it would be ketchup. You know, the movie was, tonight was all weird. It was at Ketchup's house, and I can't believe they made a movie and put that. I can't believe it. But that also let me know that that's not God. God is not going to let two men get married, and I'm not a man. And Ketchup is not gay. And I'm not going to condone that. They do it on YouTube, and when I go to the house store and it's annoying, they put, I was Googling eyeshadow earlier today, and um, I need to clean up this room. I put eyeshadow up today and on YouTube, and they put a man. And the other night, earlier today, they just flashed two men kissing across the TV, across the phone. And then I was looking at Tubi, and they just put two men kissing on TMZ. And they just flashed these scenes, and they just play games. Like, they're like having so many scenes of this to make this look like this is what's on your mind, or this is what you're looking at, or this is what you're doing. No, that was a commercial they played, or that was an ad. But if you get 300 ads of this at different times, oh, it looks like you're looking at two homosexual men having sex. And then they have AI say, and I had stopped having sex with men, and then I just went to just masturbating. So that lets you know you got a masturbator in this house. So they just play games, and I'm over it. That part I'm over. I don't even want to talk about that disgusting junk no more. That just made me mad. Let me clean up my room. That just made me mad, even just thinking about how they play games like that. Let's see how long I've been on here. Wow, it is late. I talked that long. It cannot be that long. Let me see. It cannot be that late. Let's see. I got on here. Oh, not my notebook. Let's see. 12:07. Yeah, it can't be that late. I got on here at 12:07, and I slept. I ain't talked for no 3 hours. 2 hours and 10 minutes. So my live started at, I think, was it 12 or 1? Let's see. Doggone it. It is not no 4 o'clock. It say 4:20. So was 12:07. Wait, no, I said I'm watching a movie. So the movie was on at 12:07. It had just came on. So the movie went off at about 1:30. Okay, so then it is 4. Because I talked 2 hours. And the movie just went off. So that would be about right. So I have to clean up this room. And y'all can watch me clean up my room. It is a hot mess in here. And for some reason, it looks so raggedy in here lately. And I need to put my phone on the charger. So, but anyway, God, I can't believe this is dirty in here. And it's 5 o'clock, or almost 5. I'm supposed to be getting ready to go to bed because I want to get up and do my makeup so I can leave kind of early. And I didn't do that either. So, and I definitely, excuse me, need to pray and spend some time with God. So, I'm probably going to do that because I did a lot of talking tonight and I should be praying because I still need God to, help me in this situation and to give me wisdom, insight, and it's not like either, I want to say this for the record, it's not like meeting him would be like I'll have my own money, so it's not like I want him to like take care of me, like I'll be rich. So when I was in California, they knew that. They used to tell me to go green all the time. Matter of fact, they actually told me the only way you're going to stay alive is if you go green every day. I mean, is if you stay green. So they knew that I would be rich. So it's not like I'm planning to meet him to use him. Like, I'll be rich, I'll have my own money. But it won't be about money with him. It'll literally just be about, it won't be about any of that. Because it's like, he's normal, but he's not. And so, I just can't wait. Like, I got the best guy, and I tell him I want to move to California. He might say, we're going to move out of the country. I'm like, whoa. But I'll go wherever with him. I will. But I would, if he asked me, then I'll say, can we buy a house and can we find somewhere low key to live until we either build a house, or he might say, well, go back to my house, because he already has a house. So he might say, we'll do that. I'll do whatever he says, because I'll trust him. And then I'll actually have a husband that listens to me. But if for any reason I don't, I have an issue, I can just tell him. And he'll say, okay. Like if I say, I don't feel comfortable or something with something, that he will not make me uncomfortable. He knows everything that has happened to me, and he will make decisions for me, and I will say, okay, let's do it. Period. So I definitely want to, I would relationship, you know, ask God to really, really give me wisdom and to help me not make the same mistakes that I made before. And I just look forward to really great life and have my happily ever after. And I can't wait to cook for him. God, Lee, I just can't imagine the nice pots. Like, yes, I get to get me a nice set of pots and like go home and be like, he'd be like, what are you doing? I'm gonna go bake. He'd be like, babe, you keep cooking all this stuff. Who's gonna eat it? I don't know. I just wanna cook. I'm happy. I just wanna cook. So I'll like bake all of this stuff for him. I'll bake like, oh my God, I want to bake like cupcakes, and I want to like just do oh my God, I'll have like all kinds of salmon, and I want to do like a, what do they call it? Like a, what do you call that thing? Like a, where you have the lobster, where you have the fish and shrimp. I forgot what they call it, but I want to like do that, and then like every night I would just be like, he would come home and never know who he's gonna get. Like so serious. I would like one night I would have my hair like really short, and then one night I would have it really long, and I would cook for him every night. I don't care what he wanted. Like I would just like little by little get all of his favorite dishes, and then I would cook them, and I would send him naked pictures because I plan on getting my stomach done, and I might get a vaginoplasty because I've always wanted like I don't want to talk about it, that's too personal, but I thought about doing that, and then because I want to pose for my own lingerie line, but I don't want to be naked, and so I want to do my own lingerie line called Slave, and I will wear my own lingerie every night that he comes home, and I will be so nasty, and he would get all kinds of pictures at work, and then I would cook. So one night he'll come home, and I'll do grilled salmon, and I'll do Caesar salads. We don't need to eat heavy because we have a lot going on tonight. And so I'll do grilled salmon and Caesar salads, and I might, maybe have some type of cute bread, and then we'll have red wine, and then we will have dessert in the bedroom, and then I definitely want like a hot tub or like something like lights out at night. And so we'll do that and maybe sit out and have dessert or not. And then I definitely want to be athletic with him. So after we eat, and I want to eat early, I don't want to be eating like after 6 or 7. So then we'll go for like a walk, a brisk walk, maybe in the evening. And then that'll be cute and sexy. And then I definitely want to like work out with him sometimes. And then yeah, every day he comes home, it'll be like something new. I will like be dressed and cute, smelling good, always have the house cleaned, and I will take care of like all of the errands. He won't have to worry about doing anything. And if he has parents, I want to really be like hands on. I want to like help him like with his parents, like call them, like I'll be like really cute and like send them different things and just like she sent us, she baked these cookies or she baked whatever and she sent them over, like, and then like his friends, like I just want to be like cute, like I want to be like who I am, but I just want to be, you know, I was like that with Ketchup's mom and dad, and I made him, Ketchup's daddy said, I made him that fish dinner, and he said it looked just like a restaurant. And he was like, he said, Crystal, did you buy this? And I said, yes, he likes it. And I said, no, sir. And he said, you cooked this? And I said, yes, sir. He said, this looked like a restaurant. And I said, thank you, sir. And so I made his favorite, and I cooked and put cupcakes with it, and I hadn't made those. I bought those, but I took it over there because he liked that. And so I like to serve. And so when he gets home from work, I'll, serve him up. Sounds good to know. Treats. Who got time to be miserable anymore when you could cook and have fun, and I just want to like do all kind of wild sexy stuff, like wild stuff, like he come home and she actually had the swing installed. I went and bought one and had it installed, and you know we were outside, she had it done on the sun porch or whatever. It's, something wild. But I just want to like, I can't wait. I just think that that's where my thoughts need to be, and not on what's going on in this hellhole. That is better to me and more uplifting to think about, and to think about, how busy I'll be, because I still planned on having business meetings. I plan on being up at this time of morning, and I want to take a shower with him every morning in my sensual shower, and I can be in the swing, and he could be standing up taking a shower, and we can just have a good time. There's a lot you can do that way. We'll have a good morning every morning, and then he'll go downstairs. Or if we have a one level, I think I want a one level. And then he'll go and get my shake, and I'll get he makes my smoothie every morning and brings it to me. And so that'll just be life. And I'll be really happy with that. And then I can just talk to him about all of the stuff that I really want to do. nobody better than him than to tell me this is a good idea, that's not a good idea. But he thinks I'm smart. He thinks I'm brilliant. So it probably won't be very much that I want to do that he doesn't like. He can tell me what people will say from a political standpoint and what they want. So that's another plus. These need to be washed. So that's another plus. And so that will work. I'll be very excited about that. And so I'll just let it go from there. But what is that? So I'll be really glad about that. You know, I'll just kind of wait and see how it goes. That's the way love goes. Ooh. That's the way love goes. And I'll finally get to go to an Anita Baker concert. I'm going to ask him if I can get Anita Baker to sing at my wedding. That would just be amazing. Like, or if we can like go to her concert, or if she can perform for our first dance at our wedding. But I want the biggest wedding of all time. Like, what keeps falling? I'm gonna take you there. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's the way love goes. Ooh, that's the way love goes. That's the way love goes. It goes. That's love goes. So that's the way love goes. All right, so ooh, I'm gonna take you there. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Definitely won't have to live like this anymore. That would be awesome. Okay. Now let me get like this. Ooh, I'm gonna take you there. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's the way love goes. Ooh. was going to the bathroom, getting ready to take my shower, and mop that nasty floor in there. And who else just came out? So I better wait. Alright. So this needs to go out. This needs to go out. Alright, the last thing I want to say, because I am on live on like 3 devices. Um, I was gonna say something and then I decided not to. I was gonna say something about, well, what do I think he thinks about when they gas me here? I don't know. I think that's hard because it's like watching something happen to me but can't say anything. Maybe. Or maybe he does. I don't know. That might be a question that I want to ask him. But then again, it won't. he just came out of the bathroom, and I swear I don't like to go in the bathroom behind him, and I normally take my shower before this time, so I don't swap with him, but it makes me want to just not take a shower and just wash up. I don't like to go in the bathroom behind them because they swap me. And he is the type, but I bet you he let the toilet seat down. He's annoying. He lets the toilet seat down so that when I go in the bathroom, I could let it up and it looks like I got a penis. And he must be, don't say it, Crystal. It's like they make me have to let the toilet seat up so it'll look like I got a penis to go in the bathroom. And then they have men that either have like erectile dysfunction or something like that. So it looks like when I have sex and have an orgasm or something, or I can't. And so in August of 2023, they had, I had an intimate moment, and I told Ketchup about it. And so the guy put, I'm not going to talk about that. I shouldn't say that. But they went through a lot of work in trying to make it seem like I was a man. And they even had the dude at the IMAX in the apartment 1527. They had him say that, let me see your hands. And I showed him my hands, and he said, dang, your hands bigger than mine. They just say stuff, and you can't, they don't care what you say. They just say stuff. And it doesn't matter what you say. So, um, they do not care what you say. And they know that what they're saying is not true. They just say it anyway. No, good and well, my hands ain't big, and I don't have big hands. Just say it. Read the script. I'm so tired of it. And Joe was doing it. He's still doing it. He hasn't learned. He's still doing it. He did it tonight when he said, like he don't know which room I'm in, and he said, he don't know which room I'm talking about when I text him and said they fighting the new people you just moved in. He to my, who, the old man? So that must be the cue that is the older guy living in another house, and they probably had him come over here, look at a room, or he stayed here at this time between 2021 and 2023, and or at a time that I wasn't here, because now he said it and the dude over here said it. An old man. They're referring to him as an old man. He's not old. The man is about, I don't know, but he's not old. So they're referring to him as old. He's not old. And they be on the low referring to me. Because remember, I'm a man, so they say. So he was in there doing a swap. And I just didn't, I text him back and just put it online. That means that that's the profile they swapping with, an older man. And that means, where is he living? Somewhere on Bethesda Road. He's swapping out. I'm just sick of them. Alright, so he's gone. Let me go in here. God forbid, I hate it. Hate to go in there. I literally hate to go to the bathroom. I hate it. I literally hate it. to take a shower. And alright, let's see what needs to be done. So that can't stay. This gonna go. So this has to go off. So one of my lives have to go off, and then the other one can stay on. Let's see. So my phone should be up long enough. So this has to go off. And my phone still hasn't charged enough. What's on Facebook I needed to do? I did the wrong thing. Here's this one. Oh no, that was Facebook. Okay. Alright, so this one.